In this video, I'm going to share with you guys some simple but very effective calisthenic or bodyweight exercises you guys can do to either supplement your pre-existing resistance training routine, create your own standalone workout, or some basic skills that you can practice outside of training to increase your static strength and muscle stability, to name a few. Now for me, it's been over 15 years since I first got into calisthenics or progressive bodyweight exercises, whatever you guys want to call it. And I'd say in the last like 5 or so years, I kind of fell out of it a little bit, maybe just because of age, just out of general interest. But I've seen that it's grown increasingly in popularity, especially still among young people, and maybe for due reason, because some of this stuff is kind of hard as we get kind of older and don't try and keep these things kind of active. But I am always surprised whenever I come back to some things that I haven't tried, sometimes even for years, some of which you guys are seeing in this video, that I can still actually maintain these things. So being out of this calisthenic progressive bodyweight game, I was just curious what kind of stuff was out there, what are people using? So like many people, I just typed in on Amazon, progressive bodyweight exercise equipment. Of course, you don't need equipment. Some equipment does come in handy to keep things more interesting, and there's ways to kind of progress or regress some of these exercises. So I purchased some things that are some of the top items I saw on Amazon, so I'll go over that a little bit in this video. I will link everything down below in the description box if you guys are curious and checking that out. So you kind of have to ask yourself, just like with everything with resistance training or anything with fitness, what's the context? What's your goal? Why are you doing this in the first place? Do you want to learn some new skills just for out of fun and interest to do some things maybe outside of your pre-existing training? Do you want to use some really effective bodyweight exercises to supplement what you already are using in the home? Do you want to learn some of these exercises? You can go outside like I am and just kind of go in the park and have a great workout. Some things personally, I don't think are really worth the risk to reward ratio, and also the practicality of just kind of working my muscles in the first place. So there are some things I have zero interest in learning. So some of this is on me, but I tried to pick things that I think are relatively simplistic, but still provided great exercises and stimuluses to your muscles. So getting into some foundational equipment or equipment you might need, especially in the stuff I'm kind of working with here, I'll kind of discuss why I chose these certain things. First, starting off with a pair of Parallettes. There's all different size Parallettes from like short and long. Back in the day, I just used basic PVC pipes. You certainly can do that, and I think they are pretty secure. Mine never broke. You can use some, definitely heavy glue to make sure they're secure, and there's tons of videos, and I'll link one down below if you're curious. I'm making these out of PVC pipes. I was always a little leery because they'd always kind of make this like little rickety type of noise, and so this time I thought, I'm gonna get some, these aren't necessarily high quality ones. These are fairly decent on Amazon. I like how they're wood, so they feel good. They're just a little more stable. I just trusted something like this over making PVC pipes again. But I think these are pretty decent for what they cost, and there's certainly other things out there. Maybe down the line, the more I use these, I might upgrade to maybe a higher grade model, but so far these are doing pretty good. Next thing here is just a pair of Olympic rings, and I've had these for a very long time. I bought these years ago. These are plastic rings. Now a lot of the rings you see on Amazon are made out of wood. Next thing are these real life kind of high, tall Parallettes. These actually adjust to 2 different sizes. These are very top rated on Amazon. They're relatively cheap. On Amazon, it says over 3,000 of these are sold a month. So I thought if they got that many reviews, people like them a lot, they seem pretty decent. So I was curious when I got them, and they are really good. I mean, the metal feels good, it's nice and shiny, fairly sturdy. It's got this nice versatile function. It has this middle pipe in here you can put through to adjust to different lengths. Like I said, you actually can adjust this taller. We get to unscrew the nuts here, the bolts to kind of raise it. I just left it at kind of the bottom setting. I actually never messed around with anything like this back in the day. I usually just used Parallettes and rings to do some things, but I was actually surprised. I was debating on even picking this up because I'm like, is it really necessary? But I actually had some fun just doing some basic bodyweight stuff. Now you can't talk about bodyweight exercise without some sort of a pull-up bar, and there's all sorts of pull-up bars on the internet, and this one you're seeing here, I almost pulled the trigger just to buy for the sake of just reviewing it for the channel because it was so interesting that it was incredibly cheap at the time for this whole power tower with this pull-up bar alongside with a dip station. I'm sure it's not perfect. It has adjustable settings, but for the price, you cannot beat that. But anyways, just wanted to share that with you guys. You're looking for something for pull-ups. And then you'll see it briefly in the video, but I think a pair of resistance bands kind of makes sense with some of these things. If you want to progress or degress or however you want to manipulate some of the tension with these bodyweight exercises, you can do so much with a pair of bands, whether that's giving you guys an assisted pull-up, assisted dip, making push-ups harder, all sorts of creative ways you guys can take advantage of these. Starting off with rings, you'll need some sort of anchor point, and first we'll just show you basic leg exercise. That's what I like about this is that if you're looking at working in progressive pistol squats, some sort of single leg stuff, using rings, some sort of suspension trainer works out great. Doing any kind of a back exercise, same kind of deal, and you guys kind of know this thing more or less, is that you can kind of adjust the positioning down below if you want to give yourself some assistance. What I love about the rings versus the suspension trainer is the fact you can kind of fine tune that width. So I think that's kind of the biggest factor that I love about these variety of, first you're just seeing some pulls, but then definitely when we get into chest presses here coming up in a second,
And just slowing that tempo down, finding the angle is all the ways you can actually simply increase or decrease the resistance. Chest presses feel great using some simple pair of rings. You can fine tune that width, works out good for you, trying to press through that chest line. I also love doing these isometric holds. So flies don't work that good, but what I really like about using the rings is holding this kind of low position, almost like an isometric hold. And I'm going to talk a lot about holds and static holds. I think it's some of the great benefits of using rings and some of these progressive bodyweight exercises. Frontal raises for shoulders. You could work rear delts kind of going up in a T. Arms, I think with a suspension trainer, even with these rings, feels excellent. Biggest thing you want to think about every time you're using arms or working your arms or biceps is keeping your elbows kind of pinned in. So see how I'm kind of more or less kind of using my shoulders and my elbows. You want to avoid that. Keep your shoulders pinned and just work your elbows is what's flexing and extending. Same thing here. My shoulders aren't going to move in this tricep extension. It's just going to be hinging down and then extending and flexing my elbow to work the triceps, and that works really good. This is something you might seem kind of high risk. I feel very comfortable doing this. I'm showing some shrugs, but really what I want to show you guys is just the benefits of just kind of getting into static holds. This is not something that really is going to work your muscles to a high degree as far as definition is concerned, but I just find this is something that's just advantageous and just some fun that makes doing ring stuff, worthwhile. Trying to do a back lever there, you can see I just don't have the same skills as much as I used to. This stuff I think really holds up is just using these static holds, static fixed positions, especially for triceps. Of course, you can do dips, but that's going to be tough for some people. You can see I'm already fatiguing just from some reps I was doing before. But simply holding this position, you want to mess around and do V-ups, little tucks, that works. But that's a great way to work your triceps. And of course, you can do this now as we're transitioning into these tall parallettes, getting into some of these light levers. This is what I really like about these tall parallettes is it kind of puts me in this good advantageous position. It doesn't put a lot of stress on my shoulders. Of course, you can do some things that are a little more extreme, but even something as simple as a dip, for some people this can cause a lot of problems. Works your triceps, but a great chest exercise as well, and people just can't get as many reps. But if I had these tall dips, like these tall parallettes like this, I can do these assisted dips with my leg, and this is very deceiving because it doesn't look like I'm doing much, but I felt this a lot in my chest and a lot in my triceps. And this just kind of works a range of motion that can put too much stress on your shoulders. Doing some, you can call these kind of like a bridge row with the tall parallettes. This felt excellent. You can go that direction, or you can kind of go more of a neutral grip right through the middle there. With the, you don't even necessarily need these things anchored half the time. When I use these things at home, I'm not anchored together. But for this video, I showed you guys that. Leg exercises you can use and practice pistol squats with the assistance of those tall parallettes if you guys want to. You can stand off to the side to kind of grab onto them if you guys wanted to for assistance, or you could just kind of straddle right in the middle. Might not be the best situation. I honestly think the rings would actually feel better for some assistance. You can even do these kind of tucked lever hold L-sits like that. You can use these things for push-ups, although I wouldn't really recommend them too much. I don't think they're necessarily designed for that. Instead, I'd really go to these small parallettes. And obviously, you can do things like a variety of push-ups and positions in neutral grip, whatever range of motion works good for you. You can elevate your feet. You can turn them out a little bit. And I actually like this really neutral grip position too, preferably over just basic push-ups. You'll notice this just feels a lot better on most people's wrists. All sorts of plank variations, inverted presses. If you want to work on things like handstand push-ups or just want to work your shoulders. These things seem a little extreme. I haven't done these for a while. Again, I just call these more static holds. Definitely this is more of a skill-based thing. It's just something that just kind of, I don't know, you works on some static strength. Not a big deal, but again, planks are a great thing to kind of do. These are these mini dips that, believe it or not, get you pretty sore. It can really work your triceps, but simply just posting up, practicing, holding some stiff poses and static holds again. Of course, you got L-sits.
So after showing you guys those exercises, I would say there's kind of three broad areas you could take advantage of to incorporate body weight exercises. One would simply be just to take some of these exercises and incorporate them on your pre-existing workout program or schedule. So if you do say like an upper body split or like some sort of split body part routine, pick the bodyweight exercise that works best for you. And even though we say they're bodyweight exercises, as you guys can see, some of these things you can maybe barely pull off 5 to 10 repetitions. So don't let the bodyweight idea fool you that this is somehow a low intensity exercise. This is simply just be something you can supplement for some other exercise, especially if it's something that maybe you're already limited to, say with like your home gym equipment. The next thing you could do is doing something what I consider skill-based practice, where you're not doing these exercises really to failure. You're just kind of picking them up here and there. It could be throughout the day, doing a pull-up here and there. This is called like greasing the groove method, where you're not going to say pull-ups to failure every day or push-ups to failure every day. You're just picking a few of these and doing, you know, a few reps here and there, maybe working on the L-sits when you're just sitting there watching TV from time to time, and just kind of practice learning some of these skills. And then finally, what you can do, and I know I'll be taking advantage of this as it starts getting warmer out, is just doing standalone body weight workouts. It could be total body or different body parts. It could be periods in the day where you just don't have a whole lot of time and you want to get something in versus nothing. I think that's one of the benefits of bodyweight exercises, obviously, is that you can do it anywhere. But that is it, guys. As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions, and especially your preferred bodyweight exercises of choice down in the description box. If you want to see more of this stuff, please like, share, and subscribe, and just let me know what you want to see in the future, and I'll see you guys on the next video.